And welcome back to Career Build Series 23, Episode 2. So, the second episode of the new Career Build Series for 2023. Like I said in the last video, decided to kind of redo the Career Build Series here. Try to get back to the roots, try to get back to having some constraints and starter builds and stuff like that. So, I'm currently on my Career Build Series test world. It's essentially the same save, but the difference is that I have unlimited funds here. It's creative, so it makes it easier for me to test this. So I often recommend this to people. If you're going to be doing a lot of building and designing, it's best to do it in the actual career, to do it as an actual creative game. That way it's just so much easier to go ahead and test things out. You don't have to worry about money, you don't have to worry about space, you can move things around. So I really recommend that. So I've made some decisions here. I was kind of playing with the thought of this last time of actually coming in and making these power DS. So right now these azipods will rotate 360 degrees, and I'm really not a huge fan of that as of right now. I think what I'm going to do is do my 180 degree swing azipods. I think that just functions a lot better, and so I definitely want functionality over form. I think is more important to me. So let's go ahead and we're going to move these up. I need to do a little bit of cutting here because I'm going to redo these. So these are going to be open like this. And then I need to add in some new pivots. And so I'm going to use these power pivots right here. And so I want to shut off symmetry. And I think if I remember correctly, I need to make sure I have the filled one there. And then that's going to go like this. Do I have, this one needs to be inverted. So I'll cut this one and invert it. So these are now lined up correctly. So the arrows are, the orientation of the arrows are the same way. Now what I'll be able to do is hook in the drive shafts to here. So what I have to worry about is I have to make this sealed for water essentially. And so what I'm going to do here is seal these up. And so I think we'll just go like this. I don't want to do this. Probably just like this. I just need to seal these so the water can't get in is the main thing. And then what I want to do here is add some piping. And so these are actually physically going to have to be piped in. So if we look, that actually needs a pipe. I'm trying to decide, do I want to go up one? I think I do. Let's go up one more on these. Let's go up like that. And just the nature of how these have to sit, this is how they're going to have to be, just because, I need to have that water sealed. Because the way the hull is designed, it will interact. So like I'd like to push these down one, but I really can't because of the way the hull is. So those are now sealed up and the water will not come through. I could make this one wider, potentially. I think that's what I'll do actually. So let's do that instead. You know, I think that's actually going to be the best method to do this. So what I'll do here is, it is a tugboat after all, so they tend to be pretty squarish. I think it is a little on the narrow end anyway, so it's probably best that I cut it here. So yeah, it's definitely, I think it's too narrow for a tugboat. So let's cut it, and how wide do I want to move it? Let's move it 2, I think. Again, being a tugboat, you actually want some width on a tugboat. And this will actually work a little bit better for me, I think, in the long run. This will definitely increase stability. So one thing you have to worry about with a tugboat is that stability. You're going to be pushing things, you're going to be pulling things, you're going to be pulling them to the side, and so you really can't have it be unstable. So definitely, I think making it wider is going to be the key. This will add to buoyancy. This will solve a lot of those problems. So again, I'm trying to think ahead and solve some problems before they arise. All right. Do 1x1 wedges here. All right, and then we can fill in. So again, this is going to give me more buoyancy, which allows me to add more ballast. It's going to give me overall more space as well. At some point, I'll probably add in a keel fin, which will have some fins in there for added stability, but don't really need that yet, so I'm not going to put that in yet. And it will also have a pretty square back. Again, this is kind of the difference between, you know, a boat that's meant to go fast and is a little bit more streamlined, and a tugboat, which is meant to be uber stable. All right, so that definitely looks better width-wise. I think that certainly does. And so what I can do here is we'll go back here and we'll delete these out. I'm going to delete the hole there. We'll take our power pivots again. We want power, not fuel, not fluid. I think this side is correct. So I need to check the arrows, make sure the arrows are the correct way. I'm just going to delete all that off. I don't really need them there. And which way are my arrows? So it should be this one here, again, is the one that's going to need to be inverted. So go ahead, we'll grab our selection grid, grab this one. It's going to grab all these blocks, but that's fine. Cut those, press U, that will change the orientation. 90 degrees, good. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab, where are we at here? Azimuth thrusters. All right, and then we'll just merge these up. Those are merged already. Okay, good. So those are good. So those will turn now. That will steer and operate our tugboat. I kind of want to clean this up in here. Let me see if I can cut these and not have this be a pain. Could be a pain, but we'll see. That's 3. That's 4 right there. And so we'll see how this looks here. So I think that's going to be the ticket there. And throughout this, again, I want to test, see how it is behaving as far as, you know, making sure that it floats correctly. You want to constantly keep testing that. Make sure it's floating. Make sure you didn't ruin its stability. All right, so there we have our azimuths. I think, do I want to see? I want to push these azimuths down one, but I don't like the thinness of this 1x pipe. So I think I'm going to push them down. Let's do this. You know, so we want the thrust as close to in line with the center of gravity as possible. So the higher the better, but this isn't too bad where it is presently. And so I should be able to add some decorative elements here to make that kind of look right. So what we'll do is we'll do kind of some skegs here. Try some 1x4s. I didn't count the blocks, so these are probably, yep, those are too long, so I need 1x2s here. Like that. All right, and so that looks and functions better, I think, like that. All right, good. That's starting to come along nicely. Let's repaint some of this water line here. Center of gravity. As I move center of gravity, I'm going to kind of eyeball that. That's still good. Could cut this a little bit in here. I think I will. I'm looking at the kind of the shaping of this and seeing if I want to cut it a little bit. I'm kind of thinking I do. Let's kind of cut this here a little bit. I don't want to cut that one. That's the one block I didn't want to cut. There we go. All right. You know, you probably have a lot of people screaming at the screen that, you know, oh, you go faster with this. This isn't meant to be a fast craft. This is a slow craft. That's going to screw that up. Let me see what I can do here. Let me check this new one out. I can always go backwards if I need to and undo what I'm doing, but just, it's a little bit square. A lot of this is underwater, and you're not going to see it anyway, so yeah, I think we'll go back the way it was. It's just going to be a pain to try to make that work right for me. All right, and so let's do I'm going to check the interior. So we should have more buoyancy here. I also added some more mass. Let's go ahead and float it, see how it floats. Okay, so that's floating nicely. Again, we're going to be adding superstructure, you know, a cab. Also, by making this wider, it's more stable. You can see I can stand up on the side here, and I barely have any effect on it. Also, when I add kind of a cabin, we want to make sure we can have plenty of room for a cabin. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get this up and running. So I'm just going to add a couple motors on this for now. We will put in some modular engines. But for now, for testing, again, I want to make sure this works right before I screw with it too much. So let's reconfigure our seat. AD is going to be sticky, 3% is fine. That's fine. All right, so let's go ahead and I think up, down, left, up, down, and WS. We're going to check sticky, up, down, sticky. All right, so those are all set. So let's go. AD here is going to be this one here, rotation target there. And then WS is going to be the motor. Then we have left, right is going to be rotation here. And then up, down is going to be the motor there. Let's spawn this in. So this will be direct drive. You know, again, initially I thought we were going to make this diesel electric, which doesn't work great in game. It's better to not do diesel electric, but initially that's what I thought we were going to do, and then I quickly changed my mind. Now, this is sitting, that's not sitting too bad high in the water. We're going to lower that wall. That's a little excessively tall. We'll see how it goes. We're going to be adding a lot of mass to this, so it'll probably drop in the water a little bit anyway. All right, so this is kind of the main. Oh, so where's my power? All right, so we want to set these about 45 degrees out. And in order to go right, I want my port azipod to be forward and my starboard azipod to be in reverse. So you see I'm starting to reverse that starboard azipod. So it'll take a little bit of, a little bit slower than I like, I think. So I'm controlling the, presently I'm controlling the turning of it with the left azipod. It's a little bit complex so I'm gently adding power on my left azipod, and you'll notice we're starting to move sideways. So this is the whole point of having an ASD here, an azipod articulated stern drive, is as you can see, we can make this boat move sideways. And so this is very helpful in a tugboat because you can push barges from the side, you can easily maneuver. And so that's kind of the whole point of this system, is the ability to have us do things like go sideways here. So I'm going to actually add some W and some down arrow at the same time, see if we can do it faster. And as you can see, I'm increasing the speed, going sideways. But as you can see, we have a tugboat that moves completely sideways. And then I can steer us with just one of them. So I tend to pick the port side. And as you can see, I can steer us, turn our bow. Now I'm bringing it back, and as you can see, we'll start going sideways again. So this gives me really good controllability with this. I can move it in all different directions. All right, so let's work on some elements of it again. So we bring it back in the workbench. So the rail is a little bit high. Often on these tugboats, you don't have this high of a rail. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out all the rail for now. That's my decking right there. So that's my decking. Let's cut, let's try something here. Nope. I'm going to try something here, and we'll see how it looks. So I'm actually going to add another row here because you have fenders on these tugboats that allow you to bump into things, and so that's part of the design element as well. All right. And then I need to move this back one. It's always precarious if you make it the max size, so I have this a little bit small to max size so I can do it. So this is going to be just a one wide. I might make it bigger. Haven't decided yet, but let's go ahead and start cutting this in. So probably like that, and then that will be a 1x2. All right, good. So I'm kind of just figuring out how to do the angles on this. So we're going to grab a 1x4 here. See how this looks. I'm not thrilled with it yet, but again, we'll definitely get into detailing more later. All right, so I'm going to bring up some tugboat. I like to, my favorite brand of tugboats is Damon. So I tend to go to their website, and that's how I get some inspiration. I've done some Damon stuff before, done a bunch of Damon stuff. So let's see. Like if we look at their, where are we at here? Equipment catalog. I think they changed the website up since I've been here. Where are we at? Vessels. Okay, tugs. So they have all different electric tugs. So ASD tugs, the smallest one they have is the Damon 2111, which I showed off last episode. That's the tugboat I built. That's an ASD drive. That is 21 meters long. And so what we're probably looking at more is going to be a stand tug just size-wise. So if, like, we look at this one's 16 meters long. And so let's actually go and measure our craft here. And let's get a measurement on it and see where we're at. So I'm going to tend to use pink blocks when I'm measuring. So we're right. Let's do a square. So starting from there, going all the way back. Let's say that's our length. What are we talking here? That is going to be 13 meters. So we're just shy of that one. So that's going to be a good reference material for us to kind of look at and see how we like it. This will give us some design cues here. So let's go ahead and, so like, let's look at some of these. These are great pictures. This is what I like to look at these. So some design elements I would like to add to my tugboat. So a stand tug, the propellers do not rotate like that. They have rudders. It's standard. That's what stand short for, is standard. And so you can kind of see there are my propellers there. One thing you notice too is it's hard to do this in game, but you'll often notice how the vehicle, the bow comes up. In real life, they angle the propellers down to counteract that. Don't really want to do that in game. So as you see, they have rudders here. We're going to be doing it with ASD. I like that for maneuverability. So looking at the shape's pretty good. I'm looking right now on, see, this is that kind of part that sticks out there. That's what I was kind of mimicking. So the back, I kind of want it a little bit flatter and then maybe come up, maybe some pushers on there. I'd like to get into some barges again like I did with the last career build series. I think that'll be good. So let's start working on this. So I dropped the rail down to 2. And one of the reasons you want the rail only being at 2 high is because you need to be able to have your cables go over the rail. And so I'm going to cut the rail down like this. All right, so there is decreasing the size of the rail. What is this? What is that? Oh, I somehow, okay, I dragged a block and I put a bunch of blocks up here, so that's not great. I have to be careful. I don't delete things that I need. I don't think I need any of this anymore. No, I don't need any of these anymore, so that's good. I can just delete them off. All right. Just want to make sure I don't delete the chair is all I really care about. All right, now I can go through these. So something I did, I introduced all these blocks. Let's get rid of these. All right, so that's kind of my rail. And then I want to put, if you remember the picture, let's bring the picture back up. You can see I have like this bump rail here. Probably something sacrificial you can bump. And if you were to damage that, you can easily repair that, where repairing the main hull could cause you a bunch of problems. So one thought, I'm trying to think, if I do a different coloration on that, just being squared off like this might be all right. Might not be. We'll see. So let's try reincorporating the rear here. All right, and then if you're new to the game, control clicking lets you grab the block that's there, and so I use that all the time. So that I don't have to, very rarely do I grab anything down here. It tends to be stuff that I haven't hit yet, goes there. All right, so that is there, and then I'm gonna try to, now you wouldn't want, as you're going forward, the waves are gonna come up over, that's why the front is higher than the rear. And so try to simulate that. So what do we have? What's that? 4. So right there, let's try going up 2 blocks, like so. Okay. And so this will keep the water from washing over the top. And just control clicking my way through here. So again, it's always nice to have reference material. Things look correct when you use realistic builds. Realistic things from reality. Everything looks correct. And, you may not know why something is the way it is, but it doesn't really matter because, you're just getting it, you're just kind of mimicking how it is in real life. So you don't have to know why something is the way it does. You just make it that way. And so, just people often will complain about the physics and stormworks, but if you do things like length and beam ratios, essentially how wide a boat is compared to how long it is, they tend to work pretty well. And so it's not perfect, but if you kind of follow that length to beam ratio, a lot of people try to kind of reinvent the wheel, where if you kind of go with the flow of how it is in real life, it's a little bit easier. All right, so now I'm trying to think what I want to do here. So I kind of want this rail to go back further. It tends to be back past the pilot house. And so let's grab this. Let's cut here, and then we'll see where our pilot house is going to be. So it goes about, oh, I don't know, there. And then it has a good working deck, so that's going to go there. And we'll merge it. One of the great things about this game is this ability to cut and merge. Some games really struggle with that. They don't have a very intuitive system. This does have a nice, pretty intuitive system here. All right, and so let's see where we're at here. So I'm trying to think if I want to curve over the top edge. I don't think I do. Let's start. It is a little early for me to knock paint on here, but I'm kind of want to knock a little paint on here. Kind of want to get the look right before I get moving too far. And I want to readdress the water line. So I want to paint, need off bucket brush. I really don't like the bucket. The bucket just can be paint a ton of stuff I don't want to. And it will also paint some interior stuff I'm not interested, so I tend to use the bucket pretty sparingly. People often ask why I don't use the bucket much. That's because of that. It can just be a pain. It doesn't really function well for me sometimes. Like this will need to be careful that, if that was at the same level as the deck, it probably would have colored the whole deck that color, and so I'd have to go back and fix it anyway. All right, so there we go. Kind of have the tub of this going. Let's go the rails here. All right. And then, so let's start doing some structural elements. I try not to do too much of this decoration stuff too early, but I'm kind of in the mood to get that started at least. So let's see, we'll do a rib here. These are just kind of the structural ribs that I'm putting in now. And then you often, on these tugboats, you have a very thick outer rail, and that's, again, because this is going to be bumping into things, so you need it to be pretty robust. So I think what we will do is, we had a race here. Let's see how I want to do this. Just bear with me here. We'll show you, kind of fill you in on what I'm doing here in a second. So I'm going to use a pyramid here, kind of curve over the top element. Let's see. And I'm just kind of seeing how this is going to curve over the top. That's better, I think. Yeah, this will add a little bit of curve. You know, it's tough in the game. You know, we can't do the angles that you would have in real life, so it's a little bit tough sometimes to get it perfectly how you want it. Like that. We'll go to 1x2 pyramids. So this will be a little angled here. I'm flicking my camera around. Sorry, guys. Redo that. Grab this. All right, and then this will be like that. And then, so yeah, so this will be angled inward like that. So part of that's running cables over the top. You want to be able to run cables over the top of the rail. So we'll probably drop that bumper down a little bit from where it is. Yeah, so this bump out section will probably drop down 1, I think. All right, good. So we're making good progress on this, kind of getting this built up. A little early for me for generally when I get into design elements, but kind of enjoying it. So then this is going to get dropped down 1. This is going to be right at the main deck line. We are 1 level above that, so having to undo some work, but it's not a big deal. It's be pretty quick to grab it. You know, again, the UI in this game is pretty good. I'm actually just going to make it white just to saves a little bit of performance, I think, because it's not trying to color the interior blocks that color. All right, and so that rub rail is going to go down 1, essentially. So we'll have to rebuild it, but it won't be a big deal. You know, essentially I like to have the floor, the deck, to be 1 or 2 blocks above the water line, and that's because of a game thing where, you know, you think of it like a pot in the sink. You know, the pot in the sink can be in the water, and you know, won't have any water in it below the water line. You know, but in game it can show that there's water in there even though there's none. And so this kind of prevents that a little bit by doing it this way. By making sure that deck is a couple blocks above, it makes it so it doesn't look like there's water actually in there. All right, and so let's go back to painting. All right, so that is kind of set. We have our rails in there. Let's go ahead and where is my decking here? Right here. So let's punch a hole there. So that's right there. Let's go down 1 more level. So we'll go right here for the decking. So right about, let's try this. No, I can't do it there. So it has to go there. We start getting into these blocks. So let's try this, see if I like it. Don't want that. All right. So these can be black blocks like that. I think that's a 1x2, isn't it? Okay, let's try this here. This was looking a little bit overly bulbous. Let's see if I can cut it in just a hair. Nope. It's gonna have to go there. I haven't decided if I'm gonna put a pusher on here or not, so. And I want this block here. So, I'll grab the right block. Thank you. Like that. All right, then I want to grab this one here. All right, and then finalize this with. So there should be a squared up block here. Grab this like that. All right. Then we'll fill this in here. I keep clicking the wrong block. Click, 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 please. Thank you. All right, so this is just, I'm into form a little bit earlier than I normally do. Kind of putting function off the back burner just a hair. So on the real one, you saw how that rub rail kind of goes up with the shape. I can't really do that because it's going to be a mess trying to fill it in. So I'm going to have to keep it static, which isn't a big deal. Just not as ideal as I'd like it. I'm probably not making any sense, but you'll kind of see just how it looks when I get it done. So let's get this filled in here. All right, so that's looking better. So you can see we have the rail, we have the rub rail, and the interior. All right, so then we want to go one more on the interior side here. And so those can be black blocks. Those will go in like that. And do I have a right here? Just trying to save myself clicks by finding them. All right, so I'm just gonna check and paint here. All right, good. So that's coming along nicely. And then this here is gonna be. These are just essentially inverse of what they need to be. And I need to figure out how to finish this off here. Probably just do it like this. That's going to interact. So I think we'll try 1x2 wedges here. All right, there we go. So as you see, it has like an overhang on there. That's how I want it. Nice. So again, I'm using kind of my, experience from building some of my other tugboats to kind of get this one up to scratch. I think it'll be nice to have a tiny little tugboat. All right, nice. So that gives us our rail. Then let's put in some, can I put in scuppers? Am I going to cause myself problems with scuppers? Nope. So scuppers just let the water in and out. They also allow you to, you can put lines through there, but. So do 3 wide scuppers. That's going to allow me to go like this. Either want to do it like that, or I want to pipe it. I think pipes maybe. Yeah, I think that looks better. Let's go like this really quick. The back has some really wide scuppers on there. Oh. Yeah, if I'm using any terminology incorrectly, let me know. Maritime stuff is not my strong suit. Actually, let's leave that, and then let's just add pipe to it here. All right, there are some scuppers there. And that lets, so like say a big wave came over, if this was an enclosed area, the water would sit in there and all that weight of the water would be pushing down on the craft and you'd have buoyancy issues. If it has these scuppers, if a big wave goes over and it goes into the bathtub here, it can drain right out, and so you don't have to worry about that adding the mass of that all that water to you. So that's very important. All right, so there's a couple scuppers in the back there. Can I add more? Let's see. I can go to here. Let's do a 3 wide one here. I don't know if I like them better this way though. Probably not. All right, so do that like that. Might change it later. We'll see. All right, there we go. So we have some scuppers there. Probably add some in the back. Maybe. But that's looking good. So we kind of have that. Let's go ahead and dip this in the water. See how we're looking. Really liking it. So let's look. Water line. Water line's looking pretty good. Starting to look like a tugboat here. So you see how it's sitting on the stern a little bit? That's fine. We're going to be adding in superstructure. So let's start adding our superstructure in. So that's going to be where we control this from. You know, terminology might not be perfectly correct, but you know, the root words are super is in the highest section structure that is the highest section. All right, and so I'm just kind of eyeballing it from my reference material. Bring the reference material back up so you guys can see it. Kind of see I'm just eyeballing it here. So there's gonna be a small cabin just for one set of, you know, for an operator. It's not gonna have sleeping quarters or any of that funness. Again, trying to make some small stuff that's reasonably quick and easy to build. So let's say it about here. You know what? I might go up one more level here. Let's try this. See how I like it. I may hate this. Let's try something here. I may dislike it and want to change it, but we'll see. Nope, that's the wrong one. I want this one here now. Nope, that's not right. This is going to be problematic in here doing that. So I definitely don't want it that much of an angle. one at most a 1x2. Let's try something here. Because this there would have to be a 2x2. That's starting to make that a little bit fatter than I'd like. Let's try something. Let's see if I like it. Let's do a 2x2 pyramid here. See, I don't like it this flat on the nose like that. What I could do is raise it up one, do one flat section longer. Let's try something. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 is where it starts there. Let's try something here. Might be able to get this to work how I want it. That's 4. So let's try this. Let's do a 2x4 pyramid here. Okay. And we'll do a 2x4 pyramid here. Wedge, 1x4 wedge here. Okay, that's not looking too bad. Need to try to get this reincorporated, which can be a pain. It's not going to be too bad, I don't think, though. So let's try it. Worst case, it doesn't work, and then I have to just redo some stuff. Just undo, which is not bad. So we want 1x4 pyramid there. And then what's that? That's the beginning of it there. That's fine. Then I need to take a 2x4 here. This is just practice. You get used to what you need to put in there, and it becomes second nature after a little while. I'm liking it, so I'm kind of main question is how to finish this. Yeah, the top rail is what's wrong at the moment, so I need to fix the top rail. So let's do that. So what's the height in this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. I don't want to go any higher than that. So let's try fixing this area here, and then we can hopefully kind of call it quits on that. All right, so right here, we're going into a 4x4 section. So that'll be a 4x4 there. A 4x4 pyramid here. And all this work, I may just be like, nope, don't like it. Yeah, I'm not a fan. That's just it's turning into a mess here. Let's see where I had it that I didn't like it. Let's go way back here. All right, so I think that's where I want to be. It's worth trying it out, see if I liked it, but I just, at the end of it, did not like it. All right, so that's looking good. Scuppers are nice. So generally on these, the floor also goes up, but I'm not going to do that on this. I could do that. You know, let's do it. More work, but again, you know, this is part of the fun part of the build is getting this kind of built up. So one thing we have to consider here is the superstructure. Let's start working on that. Superstructure is probably going to go from about here and then up to, so in order for us to be able to walk, we need a 2 wide area. And so I need to make sure that I have enough area. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of build up 2 tall, and then I'm going to walk around the deck and test it. Make sure I can easily walk around this. So again, testing is always good. So we can go through here. As you can see, walk around the bow. Good. And then that's probably a little bit forward of where I like it. Let's go back. Let's go back to about here. That's going to be where the back of this goes. And we went back, what do we go there? 3, and then let's cut 2 or 3 back. And again, this isn't going to be have a bunch of this. I might be able to put a bed underneath, but this isn't going to be have a ton of sleeping quarters and whatnot. It's going to be pretty much just for functionality here. Thinking cut 1 back, go there. I think that's where the superstructure should be. And so our character needs at least 7 tall to operate. So 8 to 9 tends to be pretty good. So that's what 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll call that there. So that's going to be that looks good spatially. Not bad for eyeballing a lot of this. It's coming along pretty nicely. All right, so now we are adding weight. This weight is coming up. So as you can see, our center of gravity has been dragged up. So now if we want the center of gravity back where it was, we actually want it to come forward a little bit. You notice how the back was sitting lower than the front? We actually want that front to sit lower, and the reason is as these props push, they're going to lift the nose up, so we want a little extra weight in the nose. So we want to drag this forward and down. So we ideally probably want the center of gravity maybe there or there. So that's kind of a notion of where we want it. So let's that's where I want it. And so let's count under here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we could actually put a sleeping quarter in here. That's not bad. That's all stuff we need. Okay, good. Yeah, we could actually put some sleeping quarters in here. Let me finish this area out. I generally don't finish this out too much, but I'm kind of thinking it would be kind of nice to finish this out. So let's start thinking about finishing this off. This is when you get really like using a ton of blocks here. Kind of stuck here. All right. So this is really going to thicken things up in here. This can be a problem. So we have to kind of keep this in mind. We're adding a lot of mass here. And so I need to keep that in mind as I try to finish this off. And so as long as we don't put that center of gravity too high, we'll be all right. If I do, I really need to start trying to drag that CG down. So like, where are we at mass-wise here? I'm going to just back it up until I didn't add any interior blocks here. Okay, and then let's check the mass. The mass is 4554. See what we've added. So we've added about 2 something. So not too bad so far. Okay. And this definitely can't be deleted. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to leave a little airspace in there. Can I cut that in more? It's going to be tough to try to get this angled in. Hmm. Could maybe do a 2x here. Trying to make this most efficient and not add a ton of weight. So that's not too bad. See, I can't cut here. That's the problem. It's not too bad. I'm doing all right here. Just curious, I'm worried about weight a little bit. And so if this is a non-visible area, it's not really worth me getting into, um, filling this area in. But if I'm going to put in like beds and stuff, I need to be able to get in this area. So kind of, we have to worry about the weight now that I'm adding. But I do want weight in the bow because I need to worry about. I want some weight in the bow because as my engine's thrust up, they're going to try to force that bow up out of the water. So this will help counteract that. So a little bit of forethought on that. All right, so that is kind of finished in there, kind of looking all right. It's one of the easiest things I could do here is to end this at some point, but we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, I'm just kind of playing here, kind of dressing this up a little bit. Okay, do that. Do a 1x4 here. Yeah, so just kind of looking, it would be cool. It definitely would be nice to be able to crawl around this engine room just a little bit. I don't need to be able to do it a ton, but it would be nice to kind of get in here a little bit. So let's see. Could just do this to finish this off here. What do we have? 1x2s, where are they? Right there. So those are 1x4s here. The problem is that's the right there. What's that? Okay, that I don't need. So perfect. I might be able to get this fixed here. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Kind of struggling just to kind of figure out how I want to do this here. Again, do have to worry about mass on this. I think like that's probably better. Can I integrate it if I go here though? That's the question. Yeah, see, if ideally I want it here. This is like really kind of pedantic stuff, just trying to get this set up. But, you know, yeah, I was almost deciding to not put anything in here at all. And then I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe I will put something in here. So, or the ability to go in here is kind of what I'm thinking. So, just add a little bit of extra interest that you can go in here if you wanted to. And then this is probably where that will end on a wall here. I want to be able to, I need to be able to hook up these prop shafts. All right, so there's kind of the interior tub of the vehicle. That looks pretty good. See where we're at weight-wise, 5,001, so we added about 500 mass. So that's sitting pretty, that's sitting nice, I'm liking that. We're not swamping the deck yet. Have kind of our superstructure started. Where are we at time-wise here? Now let's start just doing a little bit of fleshing on the superstructure, and then we will call it a video from there. All right, so important thing is going to be glass. So windows. And they tend to go forward. And this is when it can get kind of hairy trying to get these all the windows in here. Because we don't have a ton of shapes. And I always struggle trying to get these rotated correctly. Yeah, so the windows are always a pain in the game. It can be kind of a pain in the butt. We're missing so many window sizes that it's tough to get these exactly how I want them. So we need to think about how we're standing here. We're going to stand at a helm. So let's grab a helm. And I'm going to look at my reference material, see if I have an interior shot. Yeah, right helm on this, so get rid of symmetry. The right helm there. So that's where my eye line is going to be. So I want windows to be kind of like there. And so they're very tall windows in the promotional material, so I kind of want to keep that in mind. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there. And then because of the width of this, I don't want to cut in too much, so... And I need to have a lot of windows, so I'm trying to think. Definitely right there needs to be. I'm just trying to see what I can put in for pillars. And symmetry's not on. Awesome. Put symmetry on, that will help. And so start cutting these windows. And these windows are important. Visibility of this is... Tugboat is very important. This has a very, very much of a glass, enclosure so you can really see well. You know, we're limited. We have these 3x3s as big as we get, so be a little bit less glassy than I'd like, but that's about where we're standing. That's fine. Let's try 3x3 corners, see what if I can make this work how I want it. It's like a very, very minor angle in real life, and in game they're at 45-degree angles, so that's kind of tough too. I almost kind of want to make them flat and then do facets, I think. So. Okay. Something like that, I'm thinking. Start out, see how this works. Let's see if we can't get the glass of the superstructure built this episode. All right, and then where are we at tall wise here? One, set 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 there. Okay. All right, and then let's try to go in one, and then they do like eyebrow windows everywhere, so. Again, by using something that's, you know, a realistic vehicle, it just looks right. You know, it's actually kind of flat on the back. It doesn't have that, you know, I'll put an overhang on it like this. There we go, like that. And then, so it has some eyebrow windows, especially in the front. So I want these 1x3s here. Like that, I'm thinking. Unless I stick them right here in the tops. Because, you know, you're looking up at a lot of ships too, so I might just dump them in here. I think I'll dump them right there. You know, the bezels they have on real windows are pretty thin, and we have these 1/4 meter bezels on ours. I think that'll be good. Set this up for a 1x2 pyramid, or 2x2, see how I like it. Might not like it. I think how to set that up, right? One back maybe? One in, one back, okay. Just kind of want to get this superstructure a little bit built before we end this episode. It's going to be weird here. This integration here is kind of a tough thing to sell. Doesn't have a really eyebrow on it, but tend to have to put eyebrows on things because you know, I can't do a regular size overhanging game. I kind of have to make them a little bit bigger than they really would be. So this can't hang over those windows anyway. It defeats the purpose of the windows. Let's see. This angle's tough here. Trying to get that kind of matched in. Could do this. Like that, I think, is going to be best. You know, kind of hide that with some lights and some other decorative items here. It's a little weird, but let's put in some side panels here. Just want to get this kind of done up before I end it. The problem is the control station's here. I need to move this over one, I think. We'll move that one over to the center. All right, and then this here we will do a 1x3 pane here, and then we'll do 2 panes here. All right, so do that like that, and then I'm going to put, I'll angle out the blocks here. That I think will be better. I just deleted something that I didn't want to right there. That's going to be better, I think, to match up. And we have something I can put in here. It needs to be a 3. Nope. Oh, come on. Struggling to find the block I want. I think this is it here. Yeah, this is it here. That bubbled it out a little bit more. Now let's try putting a support there. Got to cut it up, you know, cut into it a little bit there, and then I will eyebrow these. I don't know if I can do diamonds on these or not. Probably not. I think I have to do like pyramids on this. All right, let's pyramid this out for now, and then I'll screw it later as necessary. And then these are going to be by 2s now instead of by 3s. That's the wrong one. Nope. Nope. Ugh, can't find these. That's it right there. They're out of order, so it's not really helpful. All right, so there's my eyebrows there. Do 3 bys here. Just kind of seeing how this will feel when I get in there. making good progress on this. I'd like to get this in the water. I'm trying not to have some of these take me too long to get started. You know, it's one of the reasons I started over the career build series was it was just, when you get to the bigger things, it really, you spend a ton of time making very complex, very large vehicles. And so trying to kind of get back to making things a little bit quicker, some, things that I play with a little bit, and then move on to the next one. All right, let's jump in there and see how it works. Still floating nicely. See how it feels in here. Feels good. Helm should probably move up. Helm could even move to the right. So move the helm to the right. This should be angled if I can do it. I could do a 1x2 or 4 there. That will work. But this feels good in here. This has good visibility. I can feel like I can operate this. Nice. All right, so I think I'll end it there, and we'll come back in episode 3. See you then.